Hey guys, Bugman. I fixed it. I'm proud of myself. Got my boiler heat system working. No pops, no clanks, smooth as butter. So before we get into that, fall maintenance time. It's October. You guys, same thing. You should have a regimen of cleaning out the furnace, your boiler system, blowing the dust out of it, get it ready for wintertime so you're ready and you have no problems. I also go through my water heater twice a year because mine's a little bit older. With the newer style water heaters in the last 10 years, if you want to call that new, getting a little old. They are a very sealed unit on the bottom, so when they suck in a lot of dust, they come into a problem of actually blowing themselves out. The flame will blow out, and they're not getting enough air from the bottom. I believe it's a flame arrestor, and it plugs with dirt and dust and whatnot. So, you know what, twice a year while I'm taking care of everything, changing filters and whatnot, I go ahead and get that torn apart, blown out the bottom. Literally, it takes me longer to get the air hose out and mess around and get the little panel off and a couple gaskets and blow everything out like crazy. Make sure you shut off the water heater, turn the pilot light off. Don't just be, you don't want an explosion hazard or anything like that. Let's be smart, guys. So if you have a furnace, you want to do the same thing. Turn everything off. You'll relight the pilot light when you're all finished up. I have a boiler system, water baseboard heat, so I shut everything down in the spring anyway for the baseboard heat. There's no reason to run the pilot light. I know a lot of people, they say it doesn't actually use that much gas, so why turn it off? I've actually, through time, have realized, yes, you're correct on that, but you are wasting energy. In this world we've come in today, I'm not a tree hugger by any means, but I do believe in let's recycle, let's burn as least amount of energy you can. Do your best. Help the environment. Crying out loud. It's not a big deal. So into me fixing my boiler system. You want there to be no air in the system. My system was put in 1967. The only thing it's had done to it is maybe 2 tanks through its lifetime, the expansion tank. The expansion tank was mounted horizontally. I do not like Filtrol tanks. Filtrol tanks have a pressure reducing valve that's attached directly to them, and the pressure of the tank will decipher the pressure of the water it allows to come in from the city water or well water. Issue with that I was having was how you want to flush the system with as much pressure as you can without popping the pressure release valve, which is usually 30 psi. And that makes it very difficult. There's a lot of work to do, and if your tank is not mounted correctly, it's going to trap air. You want the tank to be mounted vertically and not upside down vertically. I've caught that at several customers' houses I was working at, and was just, wow, you've got a nice air trap going on. Mine was mounted horizontally, which means the air can never get out of it. No matter what you do, it will have air trapped. Air's not good on the rubber. Do things right. So I messed around because I'm doing remodeling. I will, through the next few years, be taking a few baseboards out or adding a few in. And I needed a way to be able to drain the system, refill it with as much ease as possible. And then I also wanted to add in ways of taking air out much easier and doing the best job I can to make the most efficient system. In that process, I accidentally found out that I did such a great job that when my heat runs, I don't even know it runs anymore. I'm astonished. I'm flabbergasted. So I'll show you guys my system and what I did. I'll show you a picture real quick. This is what it looked like, and then I'll show you a still of what it looks like now before I take you over to the tank. Here you go. So I know it's a little dirty in here. Hey, we even have a little bit of corrosion. But this is my setup that I have now. You could see the valve back there coming in from the city water. And then I have, it comes over here through a double check valve, which is code. We do have to have that where I live here in Illinois, in my county. And that way you cannot have backflush back into your city water from the boiler heat system. And you really don't want that. I mean, would it be clean? Well, it wouldn't be poisonous probably, but as far as cleanliness, no. You want clean water. You don't want this back flushing through. That is a good idea, although that little wonderful valve's like $50 to $80 depending on where you can find it at. But now I'm up to code. If I ever do sell this house, get out of Dodge, I'm good to go. So I've got 2 valves set up, and I set this up on purpose so it just makes it a lot easier for adding extra water, watching my pressures, get everything bled out. The tank does come pre-pressurized at 12 psi when you get these, but you want to always double check that. Through your lifetime, you're going to have to replace this tank multiple times if you keep a house for 30 years, 40 years. I wanted to set it up that the next person or me that has to replace it, oh, wow, you can shut that off, take the tank off with, you can release the pressure off the tank, replace the tank, refill, do a little air bleeding, won't be a big deal at all. Because the biggest part, so when you want to drain, you're going to drain out of this bottom one. You can get every ounce of water pretty much out of the system. And then you turn around, when you go to refill, you put your garden hose up on the very top one. You can bounce your pressure up to about 28 psi was my good feather point to where this pressure release valve set at 30 psi would not trickle. It works really well at 30 psi. It trickles. So I ran my system probably about 15 minutes straight at 28 psi with the garden hose attached to my top one, and did the best I could to, at that pressure, to flush out my system and purge it as much air as possible. Now, at I lowered down my pressures to where when the pilot light is lit, it's on, the system's on, the pilot light's on right now, it's even on, but it's not running right this minute. It sits at about 12, 13 psi at 100 degrees with just a pilot light. So this is all summer long. If you leave the pilot light on, it will sit here at 100 degrees wasting energy. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but a couple bucks a month, whatever that ends up costing. I've never actually looked at it, but I shut my pilot light down and everything. Nope, I just don't feel like there's a point in running it. I did put, this is a air release. It's a float style on the inside, so as air comes in and when it raises the float, then it'll seal the water, release the air out of the very top valve, which you want to have a couple turns loose. I'm not 100% sure just how well they work. I've heard bad and good things about those. They say those go bad as well, but hey, guess what? I can shut my water valve off. Replace it if it's necessary, if it goes to leaking on me. No big deal. I just couldn't believe the picture you saw before with that tank was 2 inches off the ground down here, horizontal. And it had the Filtrol style pressure reducer valve on it. Just so many problems with that. And now when the tank was busted, I'm trying to get it to get water into the system, raise the pressure up. It was at 0 psi. It wouldn't work whatsoever because that diaphragm has something on it, a rod or whatever, that when it pressurizes, it pushes the filtro valve open to let city water in and pressurize the system. But because it was broke, it wouldn't do anything. All last year, about every 3 to 5 days, I had to pump air into the into this tank, the old one, and keep my system pressurized. It would just keep bleeding off and bleeding off. But water was never coming out of that tank until I did my fall cleaning, and it was squirting water all over the place. So, any of you guys out there that know much about boiler systems, hey, give me some comments. Try to be intelligent if you have a problem with the way I set my system up, and let's have intelligent conversations, not you're a dumbass kind of comments. I will delete them. I went through my buddies that are licensed HVAC experts. They do this all the time. They said this was an excellent setup. They had no problems with it. Gave me the tips. They actually helped me pick every single part off the shelf that I needed according to my diagrams I made. They gave me the suggestions of what other stuff to add to this. They thought this was a great idea. And I saved myself $500, $600 probably in labor charges or more. Labor charges run about $120, $70 to $120 per hour. So if you're comfortable with a little bit of wrenching, you could save yourself some money. Set this up to where you can work on it in the future. And I, by accident, fixed this system. It is butter smooth, not a drop of air in it. You could do the same thing, and now with no air, you're more efficient. If there's even a few bubbles in there, if you're hearing popping and stuff inside, I was always told that's just expansion contraction. It's not a big deal by some people. And I just have to laugh now that no, it's because you have air in the system. Not good. So anyway, hey, all fixed up. Guys, it's October. Get your stuff set up and ready, because guess what? Winter's coming. Y'all have a good day. We'll see you.